Welcome to an all-new episode of Get Lit with Lianna, the podcast. Join me as I sit down with a new guest author in each episode to discuss their books, careers, and everything in between. Welcome, Stephanie, to the podcast.
Thank you.
I am beyond excited to have you here because I wanted to do this like a year ago, almost a year ago. And I just had like way too many things happening and I had to kind of put the podcast on the back burner for a minute. And I was like, but I have to get Steph back on this podcast because I'm obsessed with this series and what am I going to do? And then obviously when I found out about Gloves Off, I was like, okay, no time like the present, we're doing it now. And I'm so happy I waited for this book because I'm not gonna lie, like I know like I shouldn't like saying like this one here. This one was like my favorite. Like I'm
That's
not
okay.
I'm not lying. I mean, I've loved every single one of them. I've rated them all 5 stars. Like I die for this series. However, this book in particular just like wrecked me. And I know that it's the fourth, which is crazy because I just like the story world is insane. But before we talk specifically about Gloves Off, I would love to just know a little bit more about you. Obviously, you're Canadian. It's no surprise, obviously, given that your books take place in Vancouver. But I would love to hear a little bit more about like your background and kind of how writing started. Never mind this series, but just in general, your writing history.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for saying all those nice things to me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime.
I'm very excited to be here. I love your podcast, and I was really just excited to meet with you today. So yeah. Okay. How did I start writing? That was the
Yeah.
question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Stay focused, Stephanie. Okay. I wrote. It took me a while to get to writing. I really circled romance writing for a long time. I wanted to be my original dream job in my 20s was to be a writer on SNL. Um, so I
I
used to
love
do a lot
that.
of sketch. Yeah, I mean, I look at like the way their lifestyles are, and I'm like, no, that would never work for me. I love sleeping. Yeah,
I hear you.
that wouldn't go well. But I just like sitting in a room full of funny people always seemed really fun to me. And then I kind of turned my goals towards like, well, maybe I could like write TV sitcoms and I could like work in a writer's room. So I tried that for a few years. I didn't actually get a
Wow.
job. I wrote pilots. I was still working as an engineer.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a couple like pilots sitting on my hard drive
That's
doing
amazing.
nothing. Um, and then I was just like, I really love writing romance novels, and maybe I'll finally try writing a book. I've wanted to write books since I was a kid, but it just never really seemed like a real career path. We have this image in our head of like the starving artist, and like I don't want to be starving. I want to like be able to buy groceries and stuff. So
100%.
yeah, but then I just said like, let's try it.
Crazy.
The worst case situation, I do it for free for the rest of my life, and that still seems pretty good. So I tried it. I wrote a few really bad books. Everyone in publishing said no to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't get an agent. And then I wrote another book, and then I got an agent, and then she tried to sell the book, and everyone in publishing said no to me again. And like a normal person would be like, I should try something else.
No,
Um,
I disagree.
no, not
Like,
me. No.
no, but the
Yeah.
perseverance I feel like is insane and it's like such a credit to you and your like belief in yourself and like your will and your desire to write romance books. And I hear so many authors that have similar trajectories where it's like the door closed a million times before
Hmm.
finally opened. And I give all the credit to anyone who's able to like keep their dream alive and keep kicking the can because I cannot imagine how disheartening and discouraging that process could be.
Oh, you become very numb to it after a while.
Yeah.
I had a rejection goal for myself. I remember one year, the year I finally got an agent, I said, I'm going to get 50 no's from people. And like, maybe one of them will end up saying yes. And she did. And her name was Ashley Herring Blake, author of Delilah Green. She was
Wow.
my agent for a while before she left agenting. I didn't drive her away from it, I hope. Um, but yeah, just you just kind of get used to people saying no to you, and then it becomes like, well, what's the worst that can happen? People will say no to me. It's not a big deal. So
100%.
So fast forward to I was just kind of getting a little frustrated and I wanted to be a full-time author and I loved writing books. And so I said, I'm gonna write a series that I think I want, like I would love. The book series that I want to read. Something small town, but like spicy enough and like funny and sweet, but also like, the women stick up for themselves and I don't know, it's just fun. And
Mm,
four brothers, I really had this idea. I love like series with a family.
hmm
So I wrote the Queen's Cove series, which is my first series. It's a small town
hmm
series set off the coast of Vancouver Island. Queen's Cove is based on a town called Tofino.
hmm
Um, and yeah, and
So
halfway through the
crazy.
series, I became a full-time author. I kind of learned that writing the book that, I mean, I'm a romance reader. I only read romance. And so I know what I like. I know what I like to read. And so, yeah, I just kind of like, oh, it sounds really dumb. Followed my heart. Ugh, sorry.
No, it's
Uh,
amazing. I love
I
that.
followed my heart, my gut, and then I wrote a book series. And then, yeah, my life changed. I quit my engineering job, and I became a full-time author. And then here we are today.
Wild. So for the Vancouver Storm series in particular, is it, I know we talked a little bit about this over your email, but I feel like people are very confused and curious. Like, is it indie published? Is it traditionally published? Is it a blend of the two? Like, can you talk a little bit about the publishing deal for this series in particular, and maybe how
Sure.
it differs than what you have going on for that first series that's already finished?
Absolutely. So, yes, I am a hybrid author. I started indie. I started fully indie. So, I publish everything myself. I hit or publish on Amazon. I do everything myself. I hire editors, illustrators, all that stuff. And then I think last September, publishers had been reaching out. They wanted to buy all the rights. So, when I say all the rights, I mean like digital and print. Those would be in kind of two different buckets, and also audio.
Hmm
Um, and I didn't want to sell digital, and I didn't want to sell my audio rights. When you see indie authors in Kindle Unlimited, it's usually because they own their rights still.
Mm,
How do I explain this? I just really love the Kindle Unlimited program. It has
yeah,
its downsides. I'm not allowed to put my digital book on any other platform except for
right.
Kindle. But Kindle Kindle Unlimited is like the Netflix of ebooks, right? Like it's so affordable for so many people. You can read as much as you want. I just think it like makes romance books more accessible to other people.
Yeah. And the
So I really like Kindle
discoverability, I
Unlimited.
feel, is so key
Absolutely.
to it. Like, yeah. So I totally understand.
Yeah, someone's much more likely to pick up my book if they don't have to pay anything versus if they have to pay like 12.99, which is like a lot of money for especially how fast we crush books. So
Fair. Yeah.
yeah, so I've had publishers want to buy the whole package of rights and I said no. But something that's becoming more of a trend in publishing is publishers buying the print rights only. So they would but they bought the rights to my paperbacks in North America. And that publishers are really good at getting books into stores,
For sure.
much better than I am as an indie author. And so I said, yes, of course, I would love to. Well, I met with them and I really like my editor, Shauna Summers, who has a really good FMC name. Uh, I loved her. I clicked with her. And she's with Penguin Random House. Dell is the imprint. And so, yeah, they bought my rights. And so I guess like a long-winded rambling answer to your question is yes, I'm a hybrid author. So I own my digital rights still. I own my audio rights.
Right.
So like the Gloves Off audiobook, I reached out to a company and had them, I picked the narrators I wanted and I had them make it and I upload it and stuff like that. And then Dell, my publisher, they handle the paperbacks.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. So the Vancouver Storm series, obviously that's what we're here to talk about today, the newest book. I just feel like before we get into this book, I need to know your like love and your desire to write a hockey romance. Like, what about hockey did it for you? Obviously, I'm a Canadian, like I'm from Canada. I'm from
Mm-hmm.
originally Montreal, so I'm a diehard Montreal
Mm.
Canadiens fan. So all like the Montreal mentions in these books, like they just get me because I'm like, I know the Habs culture. I understand. Like I know it's a different like team, whatever, but I can relate. But I'd love to know like what drew you to kind of writing this type of sports romance.
I think hockey is the only sport I would write about because I don't. I'm not a diehard hockey fan. I grew up around diehard hockey fans. My husband is one. Throughout university, I was in fourth year university at during when Canucks were in the playoffs, like the bad year, when we had the
Okay.
riots. Um, I have so many memories of us all going to the bar and watching the hockey game and stuff. And it's such a connective experience watching the hockey game with your friends.
Yeah,
It's a huge part of our culture in Canada.
for sure.
Um, Hockey players are celebrities here. Uh, Hockey is just fun. It's
Yeah,
fun to watch. Even if you don't understand the game, you can kind of pick it up, and
for
it's
sure.
a really fun culture. Of course, there are downsides to it, but I in the Vancouver Storm series, I'm kind of writing like what my dream is for the hockey
100%.
community, right? The inclusivity and the progressiveness and bringing
Yeah.
women into it, and yeah, I it's just hockey's really fun. I guess that's a
I
very
love it.
simplistic way of saying it.
Were
It's fun.
you
Yeah.
reading like hockey romances before diving
Yes.
into this? Okay, that's
Oh,
so
yes.
fun.
The
So,
Penalty Box by Odette Stone is one of my favorite.
home
Okay, have you
game,
read it?
home game, home game.
Okay, which one's Home Game? I forget the titles of these ones.
She's okay.
Is
Home.
that the first one?
I don't remember the numbers. It may not
I
even
think that's the
be.
first one
Oh my
because I
God.
remember the FMC. I do remember that one. Yes, that was a good
Oh
one
my
too. But the
God.
Penalty Box, oh,
I don't think I've
it's
read
so
penalty
good.
books yet. I have them literally all. I need to read. They're all on my list. I'm
Okay,
like
the
I'm obsessed
Penalty
with
Box
hockey
is
romances.
fake dating.
I love. I love.
He is Russian. Oh, sorry, Marriage of Convenience and
Oh,
fake
okay, here
dating.
we are. Here we are.
He's so unhinged. I think his name is Misha or
Here
Micah. I
we
can't remember. I'm sorry. I haven't read it in a long time. But I'm
are.
sorry,
Okay.
Odette Stone. She's also from Vancouver.
I know.
But it's so fun. Hockey romance is just so fun.
I
I don't
so
know. That's
agree.
all I have to say.
No, I'm obsessed. Okay, so my next question is about the series in general. Like when you set out to write, like I guess like behind the net, let's just say like the first one, did you
Mhm.
know that this was going to be a big series and like how many
No.
books there would? Okay,
I knew
wait,
oh, I knew there'd be 5 books.
you knew there would be five.
I yeah, if I
Okay,
start a series, I'm gonna finish it. That's just like my personality. Like I can't, even if the books made no money, I would still keep writing them. Like I just can't stop. I have to finish the story out. So I
okay,
had the full plan in my head before I even started writing Behind the Net. I knew all the characters. I didn't know like Georgia's name, but I have the image of her in my head, and I know that her and Alexi just like hate each other so much. And I
okay.
kind of know, the third act conflict of this book and that book, and I know Darcy and Hayden are best friends and stuff like that. And I've got most of the structure. I don't have all the pieces, but I have like most of the structure in my head before I even start writing it.
Okay, wow. So you kind of like knew who the couples were and what book each
Yes.
book would be about before you started.
Yes. And what order? I have like an idea of the arc of the series, like what we're inching towards in each book and what's going to happen at the end of the series. I've got like those kind of images in my head. There's lots of things I don't know. And I don't even, I don't figure out until I'm deep into the book. I did not know that it would be successful. I did not know that anyone would read it.
Yeah. No,
I was hoping.
they're majorly successful. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
like at least in my corner of the book world, everyone talks about them. Everyone loves them. Like, they're just the most bingeable. Like, every single one of your books, I swear, have been read at least 75% in one sitting, which is
Oh my
insane.
God. I love
Like,
to hear that.
they're impossible to put down. So I take it based on like what you just said that you are somebody that like outlines when you're starting a new book.
Mhm.
Like, what's your
Heavily.
process look like? So I guess let's just go right into gloves off. Like, when you were like, okay, it's time to put pen to paper. Like, what was the process? Like, what do you start with? Where's your jumping off point?
I mean, while I'm writing the book before, I'm daydreaming about the next one. Usually, when I'm like, "Oh, I hate this freaking book. I don't want to write this book anymore." This is natural for authors.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
hit
yeah.
these points where you're like, "This is hard. I don't want to do this anymore." I'm dreaming about Georgia and Alexi. I can't wait to write that book.
Yeah.
So I have I have a document just whenever I get little daydreams. Oh, it'd be fun to do this. Oh, it'd be fun to I put little notes in there. So okay, finished. I hand in the wingman. I'm starting gloves off. And I start making an outline. I guess before that, this is really getting into like the author nitty gritty. Is I have tables, my character tables. So I have like their goal, their motivation, their conflict, internal and external. So George's goal is this. Alexi's goal is this. This is why they want it. This is
Right.
what's going to happen if they don't get it. The conflict is, she's falling in love with him. Oh, he's falling in love with her, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Build my outline. And then I just like start writing. And I write, I usually have a mental breakdown around like 70%, and then, which is normal. It's
Yeah.
totally okay. And then I fix a bunch of stuff, and then I keep going. And I write like fairly clean first drafts,
Wow.
but they take a very long time.
Hmm.
Um, and then I usually send like the second draft to my beta readers and my editor,
Okay.
get their feedback, do like a third and fourth draft, and then that usually goes to the editor. So that all takes place over like 6 months usually.
And is there ever a scene that like you envision to be in one book, then for whatever reason has to get cut, and you're like, but it's so good, I want to use it somewhere else, and you plop it into another story world, or are
I
they
always
cut? Oh,
hold on to scenes and go, this is so good, I should use it somewhere else, but then it never fits. That's my frustration. And that's why it's so hard to cut scenes is like, I'm like, I would love to do this, but it doesn't, sometimes it's got to fit with the character. Right. And
yeah.
so, because I would never want a reader to be reading something and be like, well, she wouldn't do
Right,
that.
right. No,
That
of course.
seems forced. Right. And so that's my it's hard. It's hard to do that. But yes,
Yeah.
I cut scenes, but then they just linger in
I
the
know, but
background.
maybe one day you'll figure out a way to like repurpose
Maybe
them for
one
like,
day.
bonus content, If
Totally.
you ever want to send
Absolutely.
me bonus scenes, you know where to find me.
Oh, I've got lots.
And-
The first draft of Gloves Off, my books are normally about 105,000 words.
okay.
Gloves Off is like 115, and the first draft was 150, 150.
Okay, so I need to ask like what's on the cutting room floor? Like what did you
Oh
even
my
try?
God.
Like what
Georgia had an ex-fiance, Turner. So stupid. I mean, the whole
wait,
purpose
like an
was I
ex-fiance
wanted
that's not like her other ex?
no, it's a different guy and he's really nice.
Come
And
on.
so and he was just like and he really wanted to get married to Georgia and he was just devastated when he found out that she got
Oh,
married. And I think for at one point he was like the lawyer for her grandfather's will.
oh
And then
boy.
I had a friend, had my moment of crisis where I said, "Oh my God, this book is effed." Excuse me. And I don't know what to do. So I sent it to a close friend, Sophia Travers. She writes billionaire romance. And she said, I hate Turner. Get rid of Turner. I said, he's gone. Goodbye. You're dead, Turner. So
I'm
things like
dying.
that.
Okay, so good you could detach in that way also. Before we go any further, for those who have not yet read Gloves Off, what is it about? Like just a snippet? Because I guess
Oh
you
my
technically
God.
could read this book as a standalone. I mean, like it won't hit as hard because you don't get like the sneak
Yeah.
peeks of like everybody else and like understanding the dynamics of like the friendships and everything. But at a high level, like what exactly is Gloves Off about? This
They
question.
hate each other. They need to get married because he needs citizenship, and she needs an inheritance. They have to live together. They have to pretend to be in love so their friends don't get in trouble with the government, when they're interviewed for citizenship and stuff like that. And they're very mean to each other. Georgia is not a shrinking wallflower or whatever that saying
No,
is.
ma'am.
She gives as good as she gets. Yeah. But then they fall in love. And it's really fun. I don't know. It was really hard to write because I had a baby like 6 weeks before.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah, that was
Wow.
poor planning. Poor planning, not the baby. The baby was good planning. The,
No, that's a
the the
lot going
writing part was
on.
poor planning, but yeah, but I don't know. It was hard to write, but it was really fun to write too.
Yeah,
So
I can
yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
So, how do you decide what tropes you're going to use in which book? Like, how did you land on marriage of convenience, enemies to lovers-ish vibe in this one?
I always wanted to write marriage of convenience between two people who hate each other.
Okay.
I've always wanted to write enemies to lovers where he does not like her secretly, because I've done enemies to lovers where she thinks he doesn't like him, but he does.
Right.
That's not this case. I wanted to do one where he's like, I don't like her. I don't want anything to do with her. Um, the characters come first, and then I say, what situation could I put them in that would just drive them up the wall? Like, what would be really fun to watch?
Yeah.
With Rory and Hazel, I'm like, well, he's obsessed with her. It would be so
Yeah.
fun to watch them fake dating because he would love it. It's his
Yeah.
dream to fake
Yeah.
date her.
Yeah. By the
And so
way,
like
up until reading Gloves Off, like the fake out was my Bible. Like this was like my number one favorite thing you've ever written. And now that
Thank
I
you.
finished Gloves Off, I'm like, I think I have a tie. Like, I don't know. Like,
Oh,
no,
I
I
do love
love.
the fake out. That was
Yeah,
really fun to
it
write
was
too.
so
And
fun.
that's another part of it is like I have to love writing it. I write these books
For
for
sure.
myself. You know, I write them for my readers, but I write them for myself. I love what I do. And so I
Amazing.
just kind of think, how can I make this as fun as possible?
I love it.
Yeah. And it's usually making the characters really uncomfortable is really fun for me. So yeah.
100%. Okay, so I need to obviously also ask you about the steam because like there's obviously
Hmm.
incredible. I'm wearing my smut sweatshirt today. Like there's
I saw that. I love it.
no, but the steam in all of your books is just incredible. But in this book, I feel like super not only dialed up, but like a lot of it. I just feel like every interaction, I think it's interaction. I think it's because
Hmm.
of like the banter and like the whole marriage of convenience when they hate each other that just like ups the ante and the tension. It was so fucking good to read. And like, I need to know what your thoughts are on how you approach Steam, writing Steam, what it's like. Is it awkward for you? Like, tell me everything.
It's not awkward. I don't know. I just try to have fun with it, right? And I try to think like I try not to overthink it
Yeah.
because if I overthink it, then it starts to feel a bit forced. And
Mm.
when I'm rereading it, I'm like, this is not doing anything for me, you know? So I try to
Yeah.
just don't overthink it. I really trust my beta readers to tell me if I've done something weird.
I'm dying.
I really rely on them. Like, hey, tell me if I go a little too far here. My beta readers are freaks, so that it's pretty hard to shock them.
I love
I say
that.
that in the best way possible. I love
I
freaks.
love, I love that. No, that's
So
so funny.
yeah, I just I try to think about like what the characters need.
Mm.
What the characters secretly want. Georgia's so independent. I think that's a really fun conversation to have around like giving up control, especially to someone you trust.
Mhm.
And him feeling like, it's okay to take control if it's a consensual environment, everyone's having fun, everyone's having a good time. So yeah,
100%.
I think I write these books because I want everyone to enjoy them and have a good
For
time. So
sure. For
yeah.
sure. And then obviously this book was like equally like swoony and sweet. And I loved how you use like the flowers from Alexei's point of view to like kind of emote how he's feeling and like secretly show what he's like really grappling with in terms of like his relationship with Georgia and how he feels about her. What was that inspiration like and how did you kind of come up with that piece of the story and his home life?
Okay. This was kind of it's not as romantic as you think it is.
Oh,
So there's a company that makes my graphics for me sometimes because I'm terrible making graphics on Instagram. The archetype.
okay.
Ada runs the archetype. She's incredible. She's out of Toronto. Like
Oh my God.
she's just like it's a very cool like woman run owned company for marketing graphics and stuff like that. And so she goes, we're doing a title reveal for Gloves Off, and she's like, can you give me some like what's the book about? Like I think at that point I wasn't finished writing it, obviously.
Okay.
And so she's like, what? Give me some like imagery, like give me something to work with. And I'm like, oh crap, there is like really not a lot of like imagery in this book. I have to add something. And I remember seeing that like different flowers have different meanings because in high school, my high school boyfriend gave me yellow roses, which signify friendship, which means he did not love me.
I'm sick. No.
I mean, we were 16, so it's fine.
That is crazy.
Um,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
it's
That's
very
funny.
silly. I hold no hard feelings. I find it
No,
very
of
funny.
course
Anyways,
not. That is
um,
amazing.
so then I just started looking up the meanings of flowers and there are hundreds. There are hundreds
Good.
and there's a lot of negative ones which was started pinging in my brain, declaration of war, indifference. Candy tuft is like, indifference. Blue tansy is declaration of war. Things like that. I don't respect you. I can't remember which flower that is, but like I, disrespect things like that. And I'm like, okay, well, what if his mom was a florist and what if he knew all of this stuff and he
It's
starts
funny.
sending her these secret messages? Yeah. And so I had a lot of fun with it and it started just a part of the pun, like blooming in my brain. And I just kind of, yeah, it's just kind of like a spider web. It just kind of like starts growing outwards. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to add this to the book. And so I kind of went back in and
That's so fun.
stitched it into the scenes and stuff like that. I was probably about 60% through writing, and then I started
Wild.
fixing it and adding it and stuff. So yeah, it was really fun. I really like Lady Slipper. It's a type of orchid. I can't think it means sudden and unpredictable attraction, I think, or maybe that's something
Really
else.
crazy.
But I love the Lady Slipper because yeah, Georgia loves shoes, and I just thought that
Yeah.
was a fun little
It's
wink.
perfect. It literally worked out perfectly. When you're looking back at the book, was there like any scene that made it into the final version that was super, super challenging to write, or like you felt like you were really working at it for a long time in order to get it right?
Mm.
Or did it kind
It's
of just
hard for me to
fall?
remember. I'm so focused on what I'm working on now, which
I
we'll
know.
talk about, I'm sure, in a bit, which is
Yes,
book
we're
five.
getting there. I promise you. This
We'll
is
get there. We'll get there.
we're really
Because
getting
I
there.
often I kind of forget. It's kind of like I often forget all of the bad parts of writing a book.
You just
And
remember.
other people have to remind me that, oh, it was hard to write that scene. I think that I remember that I had moved their first good kiss around because at their wedding, well,
She
I don't want to
like
spoil it
dead
too much,
personality
but
vibes.
yes.
Hmm. There, it's fine.
Yeah, that's how Lexi kissed her the first time. She says, "This is
So good.
absolutely terrible. You're a horrible kisser, and I hated this, and you're awful at it." And
Yeah.
he's secretly embarrassed, but just kind of angry on the outside.
Yeah.
Um, and originally, I put that a little bit later, and then my editor was like, "You should move that up a bit," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, you're right." So I moved it up.
Okay, fun.
Originally, they did not kiss. They did not kiss at their wedding, and so I think it's little things like that. I'm sure it'll come to me when I'm trying to fall asleep tonight that there was a scene I really struggled with, but
That's
a
okay.
lot of times it's like cutting scenes is really hard for me.
Hmm.
As I mentioned, the first draft of this book was thicker than the Bible, so
Crazy.
I couldn't do that to readers. I didn't want readers to ever say, this book's a little slow. That would kill me. So
Yeah, I mean, I can safely say now, being like 10 books deep into your backlist, that like none of them are slow. Like they're not like,
yeah, there's a lot of cut words in the
oh,
background, but that's usually what I struggle over is like to cut scenes. There's one scene, it's going to be a bonus scene for people who pre-order the Dell paperback.
okay.
It it's a slower scene, but I loved it. And it was, Georgia wakes up with Alexi in like an awkward predicament. I won't say too much.
Okay.
Um, and she thinks he's gonna make an excuse and just kind of say something to, I don't know, brush her off and then disappear. And
Right.
instead, he asked her to go for breakfast, and he takes her for breakfast to this. I don't want to say too much because it's in the bonus scene
It's
for those
fine.
people, but she kind of gets to know the real Alexi, and
Love that.
it's kind of slow and sweet.
I love
Yeah, and like it's little scenes like that are really hard to cut because I'm like, oh, I
fair.
love this, but like it does slow the pace of the book. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay, fair. My final question about Gloves Off, and then we have to talk about Wild Card because I'm freaking out. It's just about like the sleepwalking aspect of it all. I felt like that was is so cool. And like I've never read anything in any romance book about like sleepwalking, and especially sleepwalking when it's related to like stress and anxiety. And I was looking up and I know that that's
Mhm.
totally a thing. Like that is,
Mhm.
and I'm curious like if how this kind of came to you and how you used it in this book and why you wanted to put it in this story.
Well, my husband is a sleepwalker,
Oh, there you go.
and it doesn't really do it anymore. Back when he was at a very stressful job, he would sleepwalk due to stress.
Hmm.
It's the weirdest thing. I didn't know he was sleepwalking for a long time. Apparently, his sister does it as well.
Wow. Okay.
Um, he would do things like uh he seems like he's awake but really sleepy. That's what it kind of seems like. He just woke up and he's a little, bleary. And he
Got
would
it.
do things like he would eat food out of the fridge, which is why I didn't think he was
Yeah.
sleeping. I
Yeah.
remember one time he spent all evening, awake cooking, and he was so excited to eat this food next day for lunch at work. And
Oh,
then in the morning, he had eaten like 3 portions of this food overnight when he was sleepwalking. I know.
so
He would
crazy.
move things around the house. Very strange.
See what your subconscious
Very
does. Yeah.
and kind of a little creepy, a little creepy. So he doesn't do it anymore because he doesn't work in that job and he's not stressed
Okay.
anymore. But I got that idea. I was writing the blurb for Gloves Off, and I wasn't finished writing the book. And I wrote the line, he makes her sleep in his bed. And I'm like, oh, that would be so good. And then the next day I was like, Stephanie, you have to write this into the book now Like you really dug yourself a hole, honey.
That's so fun.
So a lot of my writing process is working backwards
That's
and kind of
amazing.
quickly digging myself out of the hole I've, landed in. So yeah, I thought, what if she's a sleepwalker and he's worried about her? That would be really fun. Yeah, so that's how it came about.
Like dial up the sweetness factor.
Yeah.
Um, okay, wild card. Let's discuss because
Mhm.
when I finished the book, I saw like it said something like next story. So like I knew that it was about them, but then today, literally today, you posted that
Mhm.
like the title and when it's coming out. So
Mhm.
what can you share about the wild card and also
Oh.
what like Easter eggs? Because like I was catching on by this point, like were you dropping in gloves off, like kind of setting us up for this,
I've been
aka
dropping Easter eggs
the end.
for 3 books now, 4 books
Yeah,
now.
the ending, I was like, oh boy,
Hmm.
oh boy, oh boy. So tell me.
Somebody guessed that ending. Somebody guessed it after Behind the Net came out. There was a thread in my Facebook group.
Yeah.
Someone said, what are some unhinged theories we have about the Storm series and where it's going? And her name is Lauren, Loren. I think she's in Australia. I can't remember her last name. She guessed the little reveal about Jordan at the end.
Wow.
And I remember staring at that because I already knew, of course. I remember staring at that going, look, I'm looking forward to a couple years from now when you read that.
That's crazy.
Um,
Are you a Swiftie?
50-50. I
Okay.
support her career, but I don't know all of the songs in and
Okay,
out.
okay. Okay, because like she obviously does like these like little Easter eggy things like so far in
Yeah.
advance. And I feel like, I mean, if you were like a real Swiftie, you would be like really feeling super powerful, being like, I'm dropping these Easter eggs and like she's right and wait until 3 years from now when this book comes out. Like, anyway.
I do love dropping Easter eggs. I
Yeah.
love dropping hints. I love the idea that because that's what I love as a reader is if I go back and reread a book I love, especially in a series I love, and I see that the author has planned this from the beginning, I get a
Yeah,
little
giddy.
excitement, little frizzen, right? So,
Sure.
um, what was your question? Sorry. Oh
What can you
yeah.
say about Wildcard? Like, tell me everything that we can share, talk about now.
I'm still writing it, so I'm not going to tell you too much
Okay,
because, as you know from everything I've told you, I change my mind all the time. I go backwards and I lace things into the book. So I'm not going to get myself in trouble by telling you something that won't end up happening. But I mean, it's Jordan, the bar owner, and
yeah.
Coach Tate Ward.
Reward.
His age gap.
Yeah.
He's a single dad. I tell you that in Gloves
Yeah.
Off. I've been dropping hints for a couple of books that he's a single dad. I've been
Yeah.
dropping hints about, her reveal at the end of Gloves Off.
Mhm.
That's all I'm going to tell you.
Okay, fair. Fair. So
Yeah.
what's your like timeline like now knowing that you have a release date? Like, is the pressure seriously on? Do you feel nauseous? Like what's the vibe?
Like, do you mean for Gloves Off or for the wild card?
No, wild card.
I mean, I have my publisher contracted deadlines that I'm working
Okay.
towards. So, for example, like I hand this book in mid-August. It
Okay.
goes through copy edits. I have time to make like some small changes, but not like big stuff. Um, the pressure is definitely on, but that's because I don't like being stressed at the last minute. I like time to kind of think, and especially if I have like a really good idea at the last minute, I like time to kind of I
Right.
want the book to be as good as it can possibly be. That is always my goal. Everything comes second.
Yeah,
But yeah, the book has to be what I deem good enough, right?
for sure.
Because I don't want to disappoint my readers. I want you guys, I want to end the series on a high, right? And I want
Yeah.
everyone to like, yeah. That's another part of the wild card is like we're wrapping up this series.
I know. So that was my
Um,
final question. Like, this is for
mm,
sure the book end of the series for you, right? Five is you're done.
this is the book end of this series.
Okay, I'm reading between the lines.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm so excited. So do you have any like idea? Like
Oh yeah.
you're gonna finish this and then you'll move on to
Yes.
okay.
I mean, I don't want to pigeonhole myself because worst case, I change my mind and then people are asking, demanding the book, Dr. Beck,
Right.
from the Queen's Cove series. Who I will write his book one day, but it's not the time yet.
It's a good problem to
But
have,
yes,
though. It's a good problem to have people
it's a
wanting
good
more.
problem to have. Yes, of course, I love it. But yeah, I don't wanna lead anyone on, but I have very strong plans. Whatever, I'll just tell you. I'm a terrible secret keeper. My plans are these are, they could change at any minute. My plan
Yeah.
is to write another Storm series. Um, you've already met one character who's
Yeah.
going to have a book.
Okay.
Um, yeah. And I'm kind of setting up the rest of the characters in book five. I'm having so much fun with it. Like,
Good.
I'm just, I don't know, when characters walk into your
100%.
head and I just kind of see them. I see them completely. I know exactly their vibe and stuff. And so,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's going to take place several years in the future,
Okay.
5 years in the future.
Okay.
Um, the original Storm characters will be around.
Okay.
Um, yeah, those are my
Next
plans.
gen. Next gen
Next
vibes.
gen. Yeah, like my version of next gen.
I
So
love.
yeah.
Love. Okay, I
Yeah.
can't wait. I'm so excited. And lastly, I guess before you go, like, what are you hoping people take away from Gloves Off?
I just want them to have fun. That's all I ever want with my books. Like, I'm not trying to teach you anything or whatever. Like, I write for 23-year-old me who just wanted to, like, I don't know. I just like, I love enjoying romance novels. I guess I do want women to feel like it's okay to screw up. It's okay to like try and fail, but like you should try, like dust yourself off and like pick yourself up and try again. Um, but yeah, I really just want people to have fun. And I want them to just like put their problems aside. That's my purpose, is to entertain women through storytelling, through writing romance. That is like my life's purpose. And so like I just want you to have a good time. That's all I want.
Love. Love.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited for everybody to read Gloves Off. And then obviously Wild Card in the winter. We're just being
Yes.
well fed, which is great. I'm
Thank you
very
so much
happy.
for having me. This was a delight.
Pleasure. It was so much fun. It was so nice to meet you.